Hey, beautiful people. How's everybody doing today? It's your girl Mel here from Team Finance. And today I wanted to talk about, getting funding for our business, how to get the money for our business. So I had a gentleman say to me literally 2 days ago, saying to me that he's thinking of opening a convenience store, but again, he doesn't have the money. He said the products that he wants to sell, that they're products that are really needed and it would be nice and convenient for people to be able to get it, but he doesn't have the money. So I said to myself, why don't you try contacting the SBA so they could possibly help you with funding? And he said to me, he says, well, I have, and I called a bank, and it seems to be going nowhere. So I said, well, with any product, any loan, any type of funding, you have to kind of do some research. They have the product or they have the goods that you need, but you have to do the research on how to get the funds. Because again, on this channel, we talk about getting our money, leveling up our money. So today I'm going to focus on an organization that definitely helps with funding when you have a small business, and that is the SBA, meaning that it stands for the Small Business Administration. So I've actually prepared some notes because again, it's not something that I could just wing off the top of my head, but I do want to talk about how the SBA works and the possibility of the SBA helping you to get some type of funding. Okay, so first thing that we need to do is we need to kind of define what the SBA does. First thing, the SBA stands for Small Business Administration. In my opinion, I think the SBA is a wonderful, wonderful place to try to get funding. But like with anything, you got to do some work. There's always something that you got to put in. You got to file their documents. You got to do their requirements to basically get the funding that you need. You don't just walk in and say, hey, SBA or SBA lender, can I get some money? All right. So the Small Business Administration basically gives loans or loans money to for-profit businesses. For profit. What does that mean? That your business has to basically generate money. It can't be a business where it's not generating any type of money because, again, there won't be any growth. Because remember, at the end of the day, if you get money from the SBA or any lender for that matter, they're going to charge you interest. So the SBA, I believe, needs to ensure that some type of money is coming in, again, some type of profit, so you'll be able to repay them back their money. If you have a business that's not generating any money, then it doesn't really make any sense for anybody, SBA or a lender, to invest in loaning you money or invest in your business. So that's what the SBA requires, that your business is a for-profit business. You're able to earn. You're able to make some type of money with that business. All right, so a little bit of background again about the SBA. The SBA has been around for a long time, over 60-something years. They were originally established in 1953, and they were founded to help small businesses thrive with funding. So back in the day when somebody wanted to start a business, or even now, let's talk about now, but I can imagine the same thing applied many, many years ago. When people wanted to start a business, of course, it was very difficult. I believe the ideas were difficult. I believe getting the shop or the place you wanted to start your business was difficult. But more so, the most difficult part was getting the funding, was getting the money to do what you need to do. I believe that it was hard to get the funds. So generally or typically we probably tend to go to our parents or our family members and say, hey, listen, I have a new business and I need you to invest, or, I'm going to use my life savings and invest in the business. Well, whether it was in 1953 or this year, 2025, I don't think anybody would be so quick to give away their money or their life savings to help you or another person invest in a business. So rather than get discouraged and, feel bad about yourself or feel bad about certain things, I think the best way, or one of the best ways, would be to try to get the money through the SBA, because the money is there. But again, as with anything, there's challenges and there's hurdles that you have to jump and overcome in order for you to get the money or to get the funds. Nobody's just going to hand it to you. So hence comes, this is where you allow the SBA to help you by you applying to get one of their loans or one of their loan products. And I'm going to get into the loan products that they specifically have. All right. So again, as I said, they were founded to help small business thrive. And again, with any type of money, any type of funding, it is the intention that when we get the funding, that it's going to help us to grow or to make proper investments. So now the the question is, okay, I hear about the SBA. I know all about them. I know they're giving money, or I know they can help me to attain some money for my business. How do I go about getting the money? All right. The first thing that you need to do to get the money is you basically have to find a lender. You have to find a bank that is willing to guarantee the loan. But before I got a lender to guarantee the loan, me personally, I would go online at SBA.gov and I would literally read about the SBA. I would research. Because again, we've all heard of the SBA, or many of us have heard of it, and people can tell us stories about the SBA, or they could give information. But I believe all information is better when you get it from the source itself. So the source itself is, again, SBA.gov. And when you click on SBA.gov, it'll tell you about their loan products. It'll give you a background about the SBA. It'll tell you exactly where and what they service. Just a little adage, the SBA, during our recent pandemic, the SBA played a really big role. SBA was giving out money up the wazoo. It was just so much money that they were giving away because, we had a disaster. So they had to take care of that. And as I said, although the SBA has been around since 1953, that was the time that a lot of people, especially myself, really heard about the SBA and the great role that they play in helping people to obtain money for their business. They really, really came through. Whoever lost funds or lost business, trust me, they really, really helped, providing that you follow their requirements and you applied it the way that you were supposed to apply to get the money. Okay, so let's segue back to what I was saying about how to basically get the money. So after you've been online and you research about the SBA, you learn a little bit about them, you're going to do something called a lender match. So again, when you click on SBA.gov and in the little search bar and you type about types of loans, the big thing comes up and it literally says lender match. So there's a hyperlink that you're going to click on, and on that hyperlink for lender match, it tells you, based on your area where you live and which you put in the type of business that you want to do, it tells you or it matches you with lenders. Okay? Who are your lenders? Your lenders could be your regular old bank down the street. It could be, a bank that's online. It could even be a credit union. And I want to throw that out too and emphasize that, although we talk about like lenders and banks, but I'm also talking about credit unions because they're another great source of getting funding. Sometimes the requirements are, I'm not going to say less difficult, but less stringent, and they're really local, so they really want to help people in their community develop. So those are some lenders that you could look at. All right, so once you go on lender match, you apply through the bank or you apply through the lender. And again, I'm looking at my notepad because I want to make sure I'm giving y'all accurate information. Right after doing some research, I literally took my notes so I could, give you the correct information. So once you use lender match online, right, it's going to pop up a few of them and you decide if you want to apply. But as I've been saying, on this channel, I really gear in on two things. I talk about money. I talk about how to think about money mentally. And I also talk about credit, right? Before you can get any loan, SBA, personal loan, through anybody online or any bank, they judge you or they measure your credit worthiness based on your score. So before you can get any type of loan, you need to have a credit score. So the SBA requires you to have a credit score of at least 620, or they say 620 north. Okay, 620 north goes up, right? So they're saying you could have 620 and above, but the minimum that you can have to qualify for any of their loans is a 620. So again, if your credit is not up to par, or that you don't have a 620, you can work on getting your credit higher or elevated to where you can apply for those SBA loans if you decided you wanted to get one. All right, so now that I have applied through a lender, of course, you know how it goes. Somebody's going to contact you. They're going to robocall you all day trying to get you to come in and apply and so forth. But again, you got to get your docs right. So another few things before you apply for the loan. Your business must be operating in the U.S. because this is the SBA. This is the U.S. Small Business Association, although they go by SBA. They are for profit businesses in the United States of America. The SBA is for Americans thriving, making or growing their businesses. So again, I mean, and this is not to point at anyone, but if you are in another foreign country, no, the SBA, I don't believe, is going to fund or even think about, loaning you money to fund your business. So you want to make sure that you're an established business in the USA. Another thing that I want to mention again, before we all start businesses, you need to be established. What does that mean? You need to be registered with your state. These are some of the things that the SBA, whoever processes your loan or go through, they're going to make sure that you have a legitimate business. You're not going to go in there with your, regular application and ask for money, or your regular social and ask for money from the SBA. You have to be applying on an established business that has a location, that shows that they're for profit, you have to have an established business. Address for where your business is. You need to have those things intact for you to apply. This is not a joke. They want to make sure you're legit. So now that your business is operating in the U.S., everything, is going well, but we all know that we can't always count on the daily, sales to make our business thrive. We also have to have a cushion. We have to have extra money to try to, to fund that business. We need money for payroll. We need money to buy equipment. We need money to buy materials. There's so many things. We need money for other overhead daily operations costs. All right. So now that your business is up and running and you're operating, you're doing all of the things that you're supposed to do. You also need to ensure that you meet the size standards. And again, size talks about, how much employees you have, the location of where your business is, and what it would take to fund the size or the amount of employees that you have. And again, each individual lender is different, although they're all, under the SBA, or they all agreed that they were going to give you the loan. Because let me explain to you about the banks that work under the SBA. Okay. Now, again, as I said, you're not getting the loan directly from the SBA. You're getting it through a bank that the SBA partners with. Banks love to work with the SBA because the SBA guarantees their loan. The SBA guarantees their loan. So if, things happen, life isn't easy. Sometimes, God forbid, we might have an issue where we can't make our payments and hence we default. Okay? So if you default on that loan, by the SBA guaranteeing those lenders, the lenders will ensure that they'll get their money. And that's what the guarantee does. So now that you're operating, you've applied, you need your overhead costs and so forth. The banks, again, before they qualify you, they want to make sure that you'll be able to pay this loan back. Because remember, and I said a few times, this is a for-profit business. We're in the business of making money. But in order for us to make the money, we need help by, the funding that the SBA or other sources would give to us. So now that you've established that, you've applied and so forth, the bank is going to ask you for a few things, again, to ensure that you're serious and you're really an established business. So what are some of the things that the bank is going to ask you for? Number one, after they've determined that you do have the credit score to apply for the loan, they're going to ask you for financial statements, aka your bank statements. And again, every business has to have a legitimate business bank account. You're not going to mix your everyday bank account or use it as your business account. Business accounts are a dime a dozen. You can go into almost any lender. Personally, for me, I like those little small banks in our community because I've seen that they have like so much little perks when you become a banker with them for your business. And sometimes they tend, because they're so small and they're not that known, they tend to, give you some perks about opening a business account with them. So you've opened your business account, everything is going good. You're showing your transactions, everything's moving along. In other words, you're building your company's finances. You're building your statements each month to be able to show that you accurately have a business and there's revenue or, there's spending going on in the business bank account. So that's even a plus once you have done that, once you've opened the business bank account. So now that you're applying for the loan and the SBA is asking you, for the financial statements, because I mean, come on now, anywhere you go, they're going to ask you for documents. Documentation beats communication. Documents run the world because documents are proof that you have your stuff. So you got your great 620 and above credit score, right? That's your first qualifier. Now you have your financial, aka your bank statements, that shows that your business is legit and there's revenue going out and there's spending coming in. So that's two of the requirements. The next thing that you need to have, or you need to be able to show with those monthly statements, is how much is the business generating. Because if you think about it logically, they're going to lend you any money. They're going to do the math and they're going to look about how much you're making or what you or them would project that the business needs to thrive, right? Because suppose you just want to borrow some money for, to buy materials and so forth. You're going to make sure that you can show the bank with your financial statements what you've been getting in, what goes out, what your costs of things are. I think the one that is going to really seal the deal is this next one that I'm going to mention, and this is the business plan. The business plan is what you're going to give your lender. You're going to give that lender a business plan to show exactly what your plans are. In anything, I mean, I don't care what type of job you do. You always got to have a plan how you're going to execute your job, how you're going to go about your daily activities, what you're going to do, right? So you need to literally draft something that shows the bank what your plan is for running the business. It could be a plan about, when the business is going to open. It could be a plan about how much money you think it's going to cost. It could be the plan on how you're going to market, how you're going to advertise. And that's another thing too. When banks or even, the SBA, anybody lends your money, you have to demonstrate and show these people or these lenders that, listen, I have a plan and this is what I'm going to legitimately do with your money. Nobody's going to lend you money if they believe that you're going to waste their money. You don't have something legitimate to do with the money. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of their time. And basically, you're not going to grow. You're not going to get anywhere if you don't have something legitimate to show. So now that you have that credit score, you got the bank statements, you also have your business plan, I think you're more than ready to apply for that loan. Or if you've been talking to them, you have all the documents and requirements for them. All right. So now I want to talk about the types of SBA loans that you can apply for. So SBA has, I literally jot down 3 loans that people usually apply for. So the first one that I have is something called a 7A loan. The 7A loan is basically long-term financing. You're looking at a good 10 years and up to finance. And again, as I always say, disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not a CPA. Some of these things that I talk about, I've experienced it myself. I've used the tool that I'm talking about or the organization. In addition to that, I also researched. That's why I got my little notepad here, jotting down, because I don't want to miss a beat. I want to tell y'all everything. So the 7A loan is a long-term loan. Again, when you go on the website, sba.gov, and you're going to click on each of the loans because, again, it's not a one-stop shop. You got to wear the one that fits you, the one that fits you, the one that sizes your business. So if it's a 7A loan, you're looking at something called long-term financing, meaning that you're not going to start paying back in 6 months. They might give you a couple years, but again, these are the requirements that the lender has. Every lender is different. The next loan is the 504 loan. And again, these are types of loans. We have a 504 loan. And what is kind of significant about this 504 loan is that it's available through community-based certified development companies, okay, CDCs. That's certified development companies. Those are companies that are within the community that provide loans to help startups, okay? Now, again, with community development loans, you could use those if you're somebody that's big on real estate, you're looking for things that help in the community. Let's say you're in a lower income community and you're trying to get that community to thrive. You're trying to build up in that community. If you wanted to do a great project such as, maybe building a multi-level apartment or multi-level development where people can have housing, this is where these 504 loans come into play. And again, they lend millions because you literally can't take $10,000 to build a whole development. And let me just add that the SBA also gives loans starting at a minimum of like $500 up to millions of dollars. And again, it all depends on what your need is for those loans. So again, the 504 loans, it's based on a community initiative or community effort. So again, if you're that real estate developer, you're trying to do something with your community, build something, build a center that kids can come or families can come and enjoy, trust you me, and you got that credit score, you need to talk to the SBA because you will get the money. See, gone are the days that we as consumers, we're frustrating ourselves trying to get the things or the money that we need. We're not begging, again, as I said, we're not borrowing. We're not gonna go to people that can't help us or in, worse or if not the same financial situation as us. We want to go. This is why these organizations were formed. Just as an adage, and not to go on a whole history tangent, the SBA was formed during the days of Eisenhower in the 50s. And all of these things occurred after the Great Depression. So basically, America went through a financial crisis. And they realized that businesses were the things, or were what people needed to let the economy grow again and thrive. So this is why this organization is so wonderful, because they can basically help you to help a neighborhood thrive. This country is all about development, which is really a wonderful thing, and it's all about you developing and you making your money and you thriving, which is what we're all about on this channel. Self-reliance and self-growth financially. All right. The third type of SBA loan that I want to look into and I thought would be beneficial is the microloans. Now, and it literally defines what it said, because the one that I just previously mentioned, the 504, I talked about you can get anywhere from $500 to up to $1 million and more, depending what you're making. But the microloan is literally micro, where is you borrow $50,000 or less. So again, let's say you open up a little shop and you just need a quick $10,000 to buy your first set of supplies. Or let's say you're selling cosmetic products. Again, the ladies love the cosmetics, right? Everybody loves their cosmetics, but you're selling cosmetics products and you need some money to buy your first shipment. Well, you might consider a microloan because maybe you just need $10,000 to get the first shipment or to have your materials to sell, to have your products to sell. Microloan might be good or beneficial for you. And again, each lender will give you the terms of how long you have to pay, how they were going to get their money back. Because again, just like you, the lenders are in the business of making money. All right. Now, the only difference in doing my research that I saw with the microloan is that although I said SBAs are for profit, but there's one exception where the microloan, you can fund a nonprofit business such as a nonprofit childcare, nonprofit daycare center. I don't know the reason why that is, but this is what I came across when I was doing my research. They will let you fund things like that. With a microloan, you can get a nonprofit funded, providing that it's a child care center. And again, I guess they're all for the children, so that would be the reason why I probably think that they would fund something like that. Because eventually, if you're open at a child care center, it's going to grow. People got to pay daycare fees, right? It's good. All right. So now we, after hearing all this great information about the SBA, we want to talk about the benefits, because in everything in life, there has to be a benefit. There has to be a benefit for you. There has to be a benefit for the company. There has to be a benefit for the organization. Everybody is in the long haul for something. So these are what the benefits of the SBA loans are. So when you get a loan, there's interest, right? And there's a rate that they set. But SBA loans are very competitive. Whereas one lender, I'm just throwing something out, everybody's credit situation is different, might give you 7% on the loan. SBA might give you a significantly lower interest rate. Once you had that credit score and they qualified you for the loan, they're not going to judge you. They're not going to give you an APR based on your credit score individually. They're just giving you an APR based on what the SBA offered you the loan for. So, for example, I remember, during the pandemic and people were getting, loans from the SBAs, and I'd heard that people are getting, like 3%. Now, 3% over a 30-year loan at that time, that's excellent. That's great now in this economy. Now, I'm not telling you that they're giving 3%. I'm just giving you an example of how competitive those rates were when the SBA was, giving those loans during the disaster, right? It was a very competitive rate. So one benefit of the SBA is that they have competitive rates. And of course, these are fixed rates. We don't fluctuate. All right. Once you go through the SBAs or you channel through the SBA, they also have counseling and long-term support. Okay? Meaning that you could always speak to somebody, you could always talk to them about your loan. I'm sure they're going to give you resources. Nowadays, we live in an age of technology. There's so many websites online again that could give you tips on how to, maximize the use of your loan, how could teach you how to, spend the money effectively and wisely, and so forth. And just organizations that give tips and tricks about making your business flourish. As I mentioned before, let's say you're in the business of childcare, opening daycare centers. I am sure that you can basically get some great tips on how to make your daycare flourish, how to recruit parents, how to recruit families, how to get food products, how to get different things. The SBA, or those lenders are a great source of support. They give you tips and tricks and ideas. So you get continued support through your loan once you partner with one of the SBA lenders. All right. The third benefit that I thought was really, really great for the SBA is that you have lower down payments. Now, bear in mind, it doesn't matter what loan you get. You got to have some type of money to put down. So in the game of real estate, we call it skin in the game, right? Skin in the game basically means that you have some type of money to put down towards it. It's just like, when you're buying a house. Those other programs might say we give you 100% down payment assistance. Yes, they give you some type of money and so forth, but you still have to come to the plate for things that are going to be thrown in and, unexpected expenses. You got to have some type of skin in the game. So the good thing is that with the SBA, when you do you put your skin in the game, or you have your money for your down payment or any type of expense that your business is going to incur, they give you like a lower amount that you have to put down. So say, for example, you was going to take out one of them 504 loans and you wanted to buy like a major community development. If you went through a regular bank, right? And let's say your building or what you wanted to buy was maybe $1 million. Maybe regular bank might say to you, listen, you got to put down at least 30,000. I'm just throwing some numbers out to, for us to, lend you that $1 million to buy that development. Whereas the SBA might have a set rate and say you only got to put out a certain amount. Maybe they'll say you got to put out 10,000. Again, I don't know. Each individual case is different, but the point of the matter is that they have flexible requirements requiring what they require you to put down. Okay. I also thought this was really good. The SBA does not require any collateral. Now, that's not for every loan, but for some of their loans, they don't require any collateral. So what's collateral, right? And I know I literally and I constantly define things. I define things because sometimes people just don't know. So we need to really break it down so we understand the terms of the things that we're applying for and try to get. Because once we understand what the things are, it'll be easier for us to navigate through the application and get, the money that we need or the funding that we need. Collateral is basically what you put up against something. This ensures the lender or the bank that if you don't pay them their money, this is what they could take back as their collateral. Okay. Now, specifically which loans require collateral, this is where you're going to have to do some research and find out, because again, it didn't really make sense for me to go and, tell you what requires and what doesn't require collateral. Well, I mentioned 3 loans. I mentioned the 7A loan, I mentioned the 504 loans, and I mentioned the micro loans. Who knows, maybe there are other loans, but these are the 3 that I thought stood out, and these are 3 that people tend to, really bank on or use for their businesses. So let's say you decided that you wanted to get the 7A loan. I don't know, maybe they don't require you to put any collateral down, depending how much you're borrowing. Everybody's business, everybody's situation, everybody's finances is totally unique. What works for me or worked for me when I was trying to qualify for an SBA loan is not going to work for you and your business. You're in a totally different market. You're in a totally different niche. It doesn't matter what you're doing. What you're doing is totally different from each person. Okay? So that's just a little bit about the SBA and how it works. The SBA, in my opinion, I think it's a good way to get some money, to get some funding. As with anything, whether SBA or any type of organization that provides money, you have to demonstrate why you are worthy or why it's beneficial for them to fund your business or to give you that money to use to make your business thrive. Not gonna lie to you and tell you could just walk in. Not gonna tell you that they're just gonna hand the money over to you. Nothing in life. Nothing in life is that easy. If it was that easy, we'd all be rich. We'd all have, millions of dollars to flaunt and throw away. But it's not that easy. But I think in our journeys in trying to develop, financially and grow financially, we should utilize the sources and the places that allow for us to grow. We have to, because if not, it's definitely not going to work. So again, people, when you get a moment, if you're in the market of getting a loan to develop your company or to fund your company, not develop, fund your company, log on to the SBA, sba.gov. Take some time, do some reading. I stand corrected if I've told you anything that doesn't really add up or make sense. Let me know. All right, there's many ways to reach out to me on this channel, but you understand what I'm saying. Okay, you can drop a comment. You can email me, and so forth. You can do all of these things to let me know what you found out, and also let me know how your journey is with the SBA. SBA is a great organization, in my opinion, to get some funding if your business needs it. Again, this is not financial advice. I'm not a CPA. I'm not a lender. I'm not a bank. I'm just a person that believes in leveling up and growing financially. And again, if I'm doing something and I can get the money, rather than me running to people and putting my business out there and begging people that are not happy that I'm trying to do something to give me money, that's a waste of my time. And I'm not going to allow anybody to kill my dreams. So if I can get my funding through the SBA or it's worthwhile, I'm going to try to do it. All right, beautiful people, if comment, like, subscribe, share. Let me know exactly, what you think of this message, if it resonated with you or anybody that you know.